Considered the backbone of any engine build, the crankshaft is the crucial part that translates combustion into rotation. The first step of this process is the forging and machining. Once the forging has been set up for machining, the next few steps of the process take place on a multi-axis CNC machine. Oil holes are drilled, main and rod journals are roughed, and counterweights are roughed. One of the first machining operations done to the semi is cutting the contoured wing on the counterweights. Lunati signature crankshafts use a special contoured wing to help reduce windage and rotating weight. After the contoured wing is machined, it's time to move on to the next step. The crankshaft is put into a lathe, and the snout has a deep drilled and tapped thread machined into it. The thread ends up in the center of the first main, which helps to put the thread load where the increased material helps to really decrease the stress on the crankshaft snout. Next, the crankshaft is moved to a large lathe. Using a specialized gun drill, the operator gun drills the crankshaft. Gun drilling the crankshaft can help to remove excess weight, which has the added benefit of reducing the overall weight of the engine. Each Lunati Signature Series crankshaft is completely detailed by hand. Pneumatic sanders are used to smooth out each of the unmachined rough edges left by the forging process. During this step of the operation, the contoured wing is also blended with the rest of the crankshaft to create smooth transitions which further reduce crank windage and best utilize the wing design. In the next operation, the crankshaft is placed into a crankshaft grinder to begin the precision machining processes. Ensuring the snout is precisely centered provides a solid reference point from which the rest of the crankshaft grinding is driven. It is imperative that this is done correctly. Once the crankshaft is aligned in the machinist then zeroes the machine for accurate linear location. At this point, the crankshaft snout surfaces and seal surface are ground. After the snout and seal surfaces are machined, the crankshaft grinder wheel is changed to a special wheel that is the exact finished width of each particular main journal. At this stage of the operation, the crankshaft is held by the snout and the flex plate pilot step, and is again checked for zero. This step is where grinding the crankshaft snout perfectly true becomes most important. Each main is ground to a tolerance of less than 4/10,000ths of an inch. The rod journals are ground next. The crankshaft is held by the snout and flex plate pilot flange again to ensure perfect straightness within the machine, and the machine is precisely adjusted to achieve the most accurate stroke. These small details all add up to a single outcome, the Lunati Signature Series crankshaft that has an accurate stroke and very consistent surface profile that is unparalleled in the industry. After the crankshaft grinding processes are complete, it's time to head to the Q-Pack polishing system. Each ground surface is thoroughly polished to ensure the journal surfaces carry a 5RA or less surface finish, and is done prior to the nitride hardening process, since it's much more difficult to polish a hardened part. The Lunati Signature Series crankshafts are now processed in an electro-pulse nitrider, using an advanced pulse plasma nitriding process. Nitriding heats the crankshaft in an environment where the air is completely removed prior to being replaced by nitrogen and other gases during a highly controlled heating process to increase surface hardness and lubricity. The final detail for a Lunati signature crankshaft is to be precision balanced. Bob weights are adjusted for each application and then mounted to the crankshaft. The crankshaft is then rotated in the balancing machine to find any imbalance. If any imbalance is found, Lunati craftsmen machine the crankshaft to remove it. Building a Lunati quality crankshaft is a long, tedious process that involves multiple machines and expertise. It is painstaking work that requires dozens of precision measurements down to 4/1000ths of an inch that must be constantly checked and rechecked during the process. The Signature Series crankshafts are quality checked after machining to make sure that they meet exact specifications. Now that the crankshaft has been finish polished, it's time for the rigorous inspection process. Every last detail is checked during the inspection process, as each crankshaft needs to be perfect before it goes into the box and earns the Lunati seal of approval. All of the steps used during the inspection, combined with the incredibly precise machining and high-quality engineering, result in a finely finished crankshaft that is incredibly strong, lightweight, and able to handle immense power, and is now a true Lunati Signature Series crankshaft.